Sup, guys? It's Showed back with you with Better Off Dead, Friday, June 13th. Thanks for all the views yesterday, guys. One of my bigger videos in a while, probably because you can only find me here and no longer on Tower Gang. So, hell yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. Probably should have gone 2-0 with those plays yesterday, or arguably we should have gone 1-1, but the opposite plays, like the opposite results, should have happened on each play. Because obviously, St. Louis and Milwaukee, first 5 inning under 4. I mean, that was, dude, I mean, that's one of the worst beats that you'll take in a long time. I mean, we had a game that was 1-0 into the bottom of the 5th with Milwaukee with a 1-0 lead. And on Milwaukee's side, by the way, what was the rookie's name? Mizurowski. He had a no-hitter going through the 5th inning, and he actually was going to continue pitching, but he kind of landed weird off the mound and had a leg strain of some kind or something, so they took him out. He was a little bit wild because he just throws ridiculously hard. Maybe he was a little bit off his game, but he had a no-hitter going. He did have 4 walks, didn't allow any runs, hurt his leg. Hopefully he's fine, but he got us through the 5 innings, so that was no problem. Obviously, the problem was Sonny Gray. Even though he was pitching well up into the 5th inning, we had a 1-0 game, bottom of the 5th. It's like 90-something% that play is going to hit. Like, what is he going to do? He's gonna give up 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th? Oh, well, that's exactly what he did. No, he gave up 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th. So then it's a 6-run game at that point. So we lose the play. And then the bullpens, they're both not even good bullpens. Bullpens didn't allow anything in the game, so the full game still went under. Absolutely ridiculous. So if you took the full game instead of the first 5, good for you, because that was a win. I liked both, but I liked the first 5 better. But the bullpens came through. It was a game that was just kind of, at that point, it's a 6-0 game, so you kind of get the innings eaters coming in, and that's dangerous when you have an under, because they're usually not the better pitchers. They're usually just trying to come in and save the better relievers, but they did well yesterday. Sonny Gray, I'm surprised he imploded like that, man. Like, I think he just fatigued a little bit too much in that inning, or I don't know what it was. It's going to be interesting to see Mizurowski from now on, though. He looks like he could be a good pitcher, man. I mean, that's a good first outing for him, but very unfortunate. And then Edmonton should have been dead, and I'm actually not happy about that result, because I want Edmonton out. I'm opposing Canada here. Edmonton was basically dead in that game. They were down 3-0. Florida was dominating the game. Florida was dominating the shots early in the game. Looked like that was it. Although Edmonton, they could score so much, they're never really out of a game. But they wound up tying the game. I think by the end of the second period, they tied the game 3-3. After they scored, it was 3-1. Then they scored 2 goals in like a 2-minute period. And at least one of them was a power play goal, because I had the game on at that point. So, again, some of the penalty situation can kind of affect the game like that. Then Edmonton actually took the lead. They scored 4 goals in a row. They took the lead, and this was almost the opposite of what happened in Game 2 in the series, because Game 2, Edmonton scored in the final 20 seconds to tie it at 4-4, send it into overtime, only to lose. Last night's game, Game 4, Florida retied it in the final 20 seconds to send it into overtime. And even though that gives you the momentum, they wound up losing in overtime. Absolutely brutal. Man, but I gave out a play on Edmonton, which was correct. So, I mean, they're never really out of a game, man. It felt like it was a spot to play them as an underdog. So let's get into today. I've only 2 plays today, man. I'm going to give out one in the Wnba, and I'm going to give out one in baseball, even though we have a full baseball card on Friday. Usually Fridays, because you have a lot of new series starting, whatever. Usually I can find some situations. I usually have baseball sides, but I do not today. I have one baseball play I'm going to give out. It's a total. Remember, I'm not betting any of these games at the moment. I'm just giving out the plays as if I were betting them. I'm kind of just chugging along right now. I mean, it's been a break even pretty much so far this year if we're tracking all that I've done so far. I mean, which is not horrible considering how bad March was. It does mean I'm up. I think I was up in every other month. Don't know if I'm up in June or not, but I should probably go back and look. Want to look at NBA first. We have an NBA Finals game today, man. It is 2-1 Pacers now. We have Game 4 at Indiana. I've given out a play on the side in all 3 of the games so far and gone 2-1. I had the Thunder in each of the first 2 games. Both of those should have won, to be honest, but because really Game 2 would have been a game I probably stayed off of, though, if the Thunder hadn't lost Game 1. So the Thunder losing Game 1 set up a nice play on them in Game 2. I liked the spot for the Pacers in Game 3, and one of the things I forgot to mention was the Pacers had not been in an NBA Finals game for like 2 decades or something probably. So that was a huge game for them as well, or maybe even more than that, right? Because they've been in the playoffs, but they never reached the finals. I think so. I think it was a longer period of time than that, maybe even 30 years. So it was a huge game for the Pacers, man. The crowd showed up. It was a close game. It really kind of turned into like a toss-up scenario as far as which team was going to win the game, although that meant that taking the points of the Pacers was the right move. In this game, I am going to say that it is not. So, as I've been talking about on the show, man, the Thunder are still the better team. The public seems like they've been enamored with the Pacers this whole time. The Pacers have basically been the public side in all the games so far. Maybe the least so in the last game, perhaps, because that was the game they were coming off their worst loss, their only loss of the series here. But the Thunder, man, they're still the better team. I think they match up better against the Pacers. The Pacers like to play fast, but the Thunder also do. So the Pacers can't really effectively speed the Thunder up because that's the game the Thunder want to play as well. The Thunder are the best defense in the NBA, certainly the best defense the Pacers will have faced throughout the playoffs. Thunder are also the deepest opponent the Pacers are facing. Pacers also run deep, but they're running into a better deep team here in the Thunder. So I think that the Thunder, in my opinion, I don't think the Thunder are going to lose another game in this series, man. I said that before. I gave out the play on the Pacers in Game 3. I said this is the only spot where I would play the Pacers in the series. I think they're probably not going to win another game. I still feel that way. I think that the series price is very interesting now because the Thunder were like a -600, -650 favorite to win the series when it started. And by the way, in the last like couple decades, only one NBA Finals team favored by that much has ever lost the finals, and that was the 2004 Lakers against the Pacers, and that Lakers team had some real chemistry problems with Shaq and Kobe having a falling out there, and Shaq and Kobe tell me how my ass tastes. I think that came out of that whole thing too. I am on the side of Shaq in the Shaq versus Kobe war. By the way, I am a fan of Shaq. I think he's hilarious. And that was before he actually wound up on the Celtics for a little while, too. As a Celtics fan, that was fun having Shaq for a little while. The big Shamrock. The big Shaq rock. Anyway, that series, I think, was mispriced just because the odds makers, they had to line the Lakers a certain way because the Lakers are such a public team. Kobe, Shaq. That was just a different situation. The Thunder are not a public team, so the odds makers are lining this, I think, appropriately and telling you the Thunder are the better team. I think the Thunder, they've been outcoached so far. That's been the difference in the series so far. With Dagno, how do you pronounce his name? Dagno. I think it's Dagno. Pronounce it in the French way. I used to take French. Don't remember any of it, basically. I can still read and write it, though. But not really listen to it anymore. Back when I was like a teenager and I could actually go to France and like kind of just get by, and they're like, oh, he's kind of speaking French. All right. They kind of liked me over there. Anyway, Dagno has been basically the reason why the Thunder are down in the series, man. They had Game 1 wrapped up. They dominated Game 1, and why they lost is because Dagno decided to go with a smaller lineup to try to defend against the 3 with the lead late. Yes, the Pacers did hit a bunch of kind of miracle shots there at the end, but the Thunder, they should not have taken out their big men, man. That was an issue in Game 1. They took out Holmgren and Hartenstein, however you pronounce his name. They took them both out of the game. I think that was a mistake. And then the game that they lost in Game 3, it was almost like the Thunder, it was almost like Dagno, thinks that this is a regular season game and he's load managing. You don't want to be Thibodeau, who got fired by the Knicks probably for this reason, where he runs his teams into the ground, but then again, the Knicks are just a very top-heavy team, man. They had those real, like, elite players at the top and then nobody else basically on the team. So he basically had to use those guys. You have to use your best players. But Thibodeau will run his best players into the ground. Dagnon will do the opposite, and he won't play his best players enough minutes in the playoffs. So he needs to find, like, a balance here, man. Like, yeah, you don't want to run your guys into the ground, but you got to use your bench players effectively. You know what I mean? And he is not. So he's putting in his bench players too often, too early, at the wrong times in the game, and I think that's what happened. The Thunder were out to a lead early in Game 3. He puts in the backups, and what happens? Pacers come all the way back. I mean, just kind of ridiculous, man. So he's got to figure that out. He's getting outcoached by Carlisle, who is the better coach for sure, and the more experienced coach. Thunder are the better and more talented team, though, and I think coming off a loss, I lean to the Thunder. I don't want to talk about this game for that long, but the Thunder would be I'm not going to recommend it as a play, but I lean to the Thunder in this game. I don't know what this opener is at plus 9.5. That was obviously not accurate. Pre-game, I think, is sourcing the wrong number here or something. I believe it opened probably around 5.5. You know, the books, knowing that the zigzag's a thing when the better team is coming off a loss, they usually play a lot better in the next game. That would be the Thunder here. So even though the Thunder were, what were they, minus 4.5, minus 5, actually, I think it was 5.5. It was still like 5.5, right? I gave out Pacers 5.5 on the show in Game 3. So this line is actually not even that far from that. It's just a little bit higher at 6. So I would probably still lay the 6 with the Thunder if I was going to play the side. You could look to Thunder maybe in the first half or something as well to come out with fire early in the game. That makes sense to me as well. 50% in tickets, 64% in the cash on the Thunder. So the money coming in on the Thunder, even though it looks like more of the public kind of wants to go the other way with it. So I lean to the Thunder. The only caveat, again, is the Thunder are still, they have not won against the spread on the road in the entire postseason. They're now 0-8 against the spread on the road in the playoffs. So that's not great. And the Pacers are 7-2 straight up at home in the playoffs. So the Pacers have been good in the playoffs at home. So that all has to be taken into account, but the Thunder are the best team the Pacers have faced throughout the playoffs, and the Pacers are the least of the teams the Thunder have faced except for Memphis. So as far as like the power rankings will tell you and whatever. So take all of them into account. As far as the total, obviously this is, again, not the right number here. 159.5, I don't know what that is. What is this, a college game? 226.5 is where the total actually is right now. 76% of tickets, 83% of the cash on the over. So the public likes the over. I mean, the public are always going to play an over, man. Pacers, Thunder, they know both teams could score, so that's what they're going to do. But I'm not sure that they're not correct in this one, as the money is also coming in on the over. The total is actually a little bit lower than it has been in the rest of the games in the series. And if you like the Thunder, I mean, a lower scoring game does make sense because it does mean the Thunder are going to come out and play defensively. So that would kind of be my hesitation with looking towards the over in this game. And I don't really do a whole lot of NBA totals, obviously. I'm 0-1 in the playoffs in NBA totals, so that's great. As far as the total, though, Game 4, historically in the NBA Finals, Game 4 is a much lower scoring game. Like, historically, almost all the games go under. But there have only been a couple of Game 4s with a total anywhere near this high, and I know that those games actually still tend to go over. So the total is high for a reason. So this game still might go over for that reason. You are talking about the Pacers being at home. They might control the pace there. So I would probably still have that slightly into the over in this one with a shorter number. And, of course, the team's used to playing in this arena now with having played that prior game 2 days ago. Only 1 day of rest means the defense could be a little bit more tired. Neither team really relies that heavily on the three either, so the tired legs shouldn't affect that either. So I think the over actually kind of does make sense in a way in this game as well. Not going to be something that I'm going to get involved in. And I think that's all I have to say, except as far as the side is concerned, I believe that there are some historical trends going against the Pacers as well. In NBA Finals, in Game 3, if the home team wins as an underdog in Game 3, they don't do well in the next game historically. Although I think it's a small sample size. I think they're only like 1-2 or something like that. Both straight up and against the spread, I think was the number, something like that. So it's a very small sample size. So take from that what you will. But when the team pulls off home upset like that in game 3, they tend to not do as well in game 4. So I do lean to Oklahoma City. I think that is probably the strongest lean in the game. David, what's up, man? And what I was going to say is I think the series price is where it's at here, man. That's what I was going to say this before I talked about the game. Looking at this series, man, I was looking at it, and after the Pacers won game 1, I said, okay, the Thunder are probably going to win game 2. Now, game 3 looks like it's going to be a Pacers game, so if they do win game 3, they go up 2-1, you're going to get a nice series price on the Thunder, man. And now they're at, like, you can find them at minus 200 at some spots right now, so I also like that, playing the Thunder on the series price at minus 200. The books are still lining them as a favorite. They know that the Thunder are going to be the favorite in every single game of the series. So there's a reason for it. I think it's a cheap price. So I think the Thunder might not lose another game in the series. So I would look to maybe play that as well. The Thunder on the series price, it's somewhere in the minus 200 vicinity if you can, afford that. I think that is a good play to make as well. All right. WNBA. We have 2 games here. WNBA was off yesterday. First game up is not the game I am going to have a play in. This is a pretty ugly game that I don't want any part of. Chicago at Atlanta. Chicago, they're just bad, man. And they're coming off a couple of blowout losses to Indiana and New York. Indiana, I thought, was a good spot for Chicago, too. I gave it out as a play on the show, and oops, they got absolutely annihilated. The Chicago team, they can't shoot. They can't score. Angel Reese cannot shoot. She can't even make a layup, we know. They just got rocked again by the New York Liberty, although the Liberty are the best team in the league. But now they have a second straight road game. Yes, they're coming off an embarrassing loss, but playing Atlanta, who they haven't seen yet this year, and Atlanta is certainly the better of the 2 teams here. Atlanta is coming off beating Indiana, though, so this is the one kind of hesitation I would have here is that people, the recreational bettors, if they're going to look at this game, they're going to say, oh, well, Atlanta just crushed Indiana, and Chicago just got crushed by Indiana. So that obviously means Atlanta should win this game really easily, right? They do that like transitive property type of thing. Well, it doesn't usually work that way, man. So that's the one hesitation I might have here, other than the fact that beating Indiana is also a big win for Atlanta, even though Caitlin Clark was not back yet in that game. I don't think she's back yet, right? Because we're waiting to maybe fade her in the reverse injured player spot here. I'm pretty sure she wasn't back. So I think Indiana's without Cunningham and Clark in this game. Yeah, it looks like they were. So still a big win for the Dream, though, because they had lost to Indiana the prior game. They'd beaten them the first time they played them. And the only time that they'd lost them was on their home floor. So they got a little bit of revenge there. So they are coming off a big game as well. So I guess all that being said, probably the lean would be to taking the points with Chicago. The line has moved up from 9.5 to 12 with juice. It might be 12.5 out there, which I don't really know what is going on with the line move, if that's because of the money that's coming in or if it's just due to the personnel or something. But I think the number's too big probably at this point. So I'd probably lean to Chicago there taking the points, but man, I certainly don't want to do it. What I will do is lay the 6 with Las Vegas with the Aces here. I like how this spot sets up for Vegas, man. I think you're getting a nice, cheap number on this, and I'll explain why in a second. The line was at 10, and now it's down to 6. You might even be able to get 5.5, man. You can lay 5.5 with it. This is a Las Vegas team that is better than the record looks so far, man. I mean, they do have some new pieces that they're trying to work in, but they do have their couple of star players from last year still there. They're still a good team. They're still being lined like they're one of the best teams, and they just have not been getting it done so far. Although I think you can give them a break for their first 2 losses, man. They lost in the first game of the season to the Liberty, who are the best team in the league, and I know that was revenge for the playoffs last year. I actually gave out a play on the Aces there, but the Liberty were having their banner ceremony, and it didn't piss off Las Vegas enough. It was just a big game for the Liberty for all those reasons. Then Vegas did slip up on the road at Seattle, but Seattle's a pretty good team this year, so give them a pass for those. But now they're coming off 2 absolutely disgusting losses to Golden State, who's like an expansion team, a new team. They're not good. Vegas was a minus 12.5 road favorite there, and they lost the game. They had a horrendous shooting game, 35.5% from the field, 24% from three. Just like it basically seems like a total outlier. I don't know how they got out-rebounded in that game either. But then what did they do after that? They actually followed it up with a home loss to LA, in which Las Vegas was an 8.5-point favorite, and they lost this game pretty much just down the entire game, could never get back in it. But this game was an even greater outliers. Las Vegas shot poorly again, 37.5% of the field, 25.7% from three. And I know it's not a good sign when they keep doing this. It's like, well, that's becoming not an outlier anymore, right? Because Vegas, they got out-rebounded again. They're shooting terribly. Yeah, that's true. But I think they're going to bounce back here at some point. I mean, they're not as bad as these games look. LA shot out of their minds, 56.9% from the field, 45% from three. That's not going to happen again. It's very rare that you see a team that has 17 turnovers to 9 on the road win a game and win like the entire way, which again, that doesn't look good for the Aces because it means, yeah, they got totally outshot. They got out-rebounded. That's all true. But I think they're going to bounce back here, and now you're getting a cheap line here. They're facing one of the teams that's been struggling the most with Dallas. Dallas coming off a bunch of losses. They only have one win on the season. It was against Connecticut, who may be the absolute worst team in the league. Dallas has not won since then. They've been losing by margin in basically every game as well. So I like that as far as playing the favorite here in Vegas, who is the way better team. Dallas did just get Buckers back against Phoenix here, which I talked about that. That was a reverse injured player theory spot on both sides. So with Buckers coming back, and then on the other side, one of these players, I think it was Alyssa Thomas, returned for Phoenix in that game. So both teams had starters returning. So I always talk about this. When you have an injured player go down, the first game that player is out, and this is going to work into this play here today as well. The first game that player is out, the team usually steps it up big because they know they have one of their star players out and they have to play with more intensity to cover for that player being out. So that first game only, they usually put in a big effort, and then they kind of lapse a little bit after that. But then in the reverse injured player spot, when that star player comes back, the team kind of feels like almost like they could just kind of instinctively take their foot off the gas a little bit because, our star player is back, and they have to build up that chemistry again. So that's usually a negative. So what we have here actually is an injured player spot now, even though I know Dallas this is their second game with Buckers back, so they should be probably a little bit better than they were in the first game with her because she's worked her way back in. I think she had a good game in her first game back too, and it didn't even matter. They still lost, so maybe it doesn't matter that much. But with Vegas, we have an injured player spot here because I forget her name already. I don't remember any of these players' names, man. I don't follow the WNBA. Asia Wilson. She got hurt. She's the starting center for the Aces. She actually had a bad game in that Sparks game, and I think she got hurt. She was 2 for 12 from the field. Again, just a terrible shooting game, but the Aces still have Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray, both really good players. They're both star players, probably the two best players in this game, even though Buckers is good. So they do still have both of them, but I think because Asia Wilson is now out, yes, they're going to have to go with a smaller lineup, but what it does mean is that Vegas is probably going to step up with some intensity, man, because now not only are they in an embarrassed mood coming off 2 major upset losses and 2 outlier shooting percentages where the team shot horribly, but they're going to step it up because one of their star players is injured. So I think it's a very good spot to play Vegas here for those reasons. -6, get it at some number better than 7, man, is what I would have to say. 7 tends to be a key number in any basketball, basically, because it's the 3 possession threshold where teams stop intentionally fouling. So that's what I would look for there. Vegas -6 is what I'm giving out on the show there. So I like that play. I'm 7-5 in the WNBA right now, which should really be something more like 9-3, though. Got screwed on a couple of the plays. Let's talk about Major League Baseball, which is going to maybe get a little bit boring because my first play is going to be one of the first games on the board, and then that's going to be my only play. I just don't like the card at all today. We have one afternoon game, Pittsburgh and the Cubs playing one of those Wrigley afternoon games. And again, it looks like it's another wind blowing in situation off of the lake there with a ridiculously low total. somewhere maybe even south of 7. It looks like it's drifting from 7 down to 7 juice to the under. 59% of tickets on the under, but 59% of cash on the over, though. Because I think it's because Paul Skeens is pitching. Whenever he's pitching, they always have to adjust the number down a little bit further. But with the wind blowing in and because it's Skeens, maybe the under is still not a terrible way to look in this game. With the number having moved down towards the under, although it does look like the cash is on the over. Yes, Paul Skeens is pitching today. I don't think either team actually used... Well, actually, let me look. I think the Cubs actually did use some of their better relievers. Yeah, so the Cubs used Presley for the save yesterday. So the Cubs did use a couple of their better arms in their bullpen yesterday. Pittsburgh doesn't really have a good bullpen, but they didn't use that many of them yesterday. So try to take that into account in the handicapping. Bullpen situation, still not really that bad for either team, though, so I don't know. And the Cubs bullpen has been pitching a lot better than they were early in the season. Paul Skeens is pitching for Pittsburgh. Obviously, he's doing really well. 1.88 ERA, 0.84 whip. Can't get any run support, obviously. He's actually a little bit better on the road, too, with a 1.19 road ERA. He's in good form because he's rarely not. I did have a couple of games where he started walking too many guys, but he's come back from that, and he's been dominating over the last few starts with whatever that is. He's only walked 2 guys over the last 3 starts and allowed 2 earned runs over that span, going at least 6 2/3 in all of those outings, striking out whatever that is, 22 over that span as well. And his team has actually won 3 of his last 4 starts, so that's something. Pittsburgh started playing a little bit better as a team. Against the Cubs, Skeens' numbers are kind of mediocre, though. In 56 at-bats, 19-9, strikeout walk ratio isn't that great. He's allowed 4 home runs to 4 different batters, which isn't really that great. 250 average allowed is pretty good, but an 836 OPS, a little bit high. So Skeens is actually gettable against the Cubs. I mean, they have a really good lineup, so they can potentially get to Skeens a little bit. Cade Horton is pitching for the Cubs. He, I believe, is a rookie. He's only 23. 4.11 ERA, 1.3 whip. That whip isn't that great. If you look at his numbers, though, he's been consistent and decent, though, for the most part. Not allowing more than 4 earned runs in any start. And that was his last outing at Detroit, which is a difficult draw. He's actually had 4 road starts this year out of his 6 starts. And that was actually the first one that the Cubs lost. So they were 5-0 with him on the mound prior to that. So he's been keeping them in games. They've been winning games behind him. His strikeout walk ratio at 25-7 is actually not that bad. He's just been hit a little bit too hard so far. So he's actually not been pitching that bad. His command has actually been pretty good. He's facing a weak Pittsburgh lineup this time here, kind of stepping down in class a little bit again, and Pittsburgh has never seen him before, so Horton does have a little bit of an edge there. So I think maybe there is actually slight value on the Cubs, maybe, although they flipped from a plus 113 dog to a minus 112 favorite. They have 55% of tickets on them, 53% of the cash is coming in on Pittsburgh, because I think the public still kind of just likes the Cubs, even though they know Skeens. I think they still kind of just like the Cubs anyway, because the Cubs have a way better record. But, I mean, I think the fact that Skeens is pitching is kind of splitting the public sentiment on this game a little bit, so it's very tough to read this game. As the line moved a bit, but now the cash seems to be coming in on Pittsburgh and on the over. I mean, I kind of disagree with both of those, actually. I would kind of lean to the Cubs just because they have the better team. And, you know, once we get into the bullpens, even though they used some of their better relievers yesterday, I think maybe you trust them a little bit more. Skeens tends to get, a little bit overrated in the market a little bit, although playing a good team like the Cubs, maybe he's actually not being overvalued in the market. We will see, but the Cubs also, like I said, they can hit Skeens a little bit, and Pittsburgh has never seen Horton before, so I think that kind of helps Chicago in the starting pitching matchup. Miami against Washington. Only one of the teams played yesterday. Washington played yesterday. They're returning home from New York. They had one series on the road against the Mets. Close game, but they didn't use really any of their bullpens, man. They only used Salazar and Brzezicki. How do you pronounce it? Brizki? How do you pronounce this guy's name? Who knows? Brzezicki. Basically has no vowels in his name. I don't know. But Washington didn't use any of their better relievers, although I know Washington's bullpen sucks. Miami's bullpen is not good either. So, yes, we're dealing with 2 bad bullpens here, but I'm still going to go full game under 9. This is my one baseball play. You can get it at minus 120 out there, so you do have to pay a little bit more to get the 9. The 9 is a key number in baseball, though, because it breaks the 4-4 tie. And the fact that you can get it on a key number like this, instead of playing under, 4 in the first 5 innings, I think I kind of prefer it this way, even though a lot of this handicap is going to have to do with the starting pitching matchup. I think because Miami is completely rested, they didn't play yesterday, so they can use any of their relievers in this game. Washington didn't use any of their best relief pitchers yesterday, and both offenses are not that good. I think we can do it full game here, I think. Hopefully this isn't going to screw me. We're going to see another one where the first 5 inning goes under and then the bullpen screw us, right? That's what's going to happen. But both offenses aren't that good, so I'm still okay with this, even though I know the books have lined this thing at 9. It's a high number, but that number is dropping, man. The market read looks to be on the under. It's down a little bit from 9 juice to the under to 8.5 juice to the over. 50% of tickets on the under, but 80% of the cash on the under. So I think the legitimate money is coming in on the under. Obviously, I'm agreeing with that. I like the starting pitching matchup too here, man. Edward Cabrera is pitching for Miami. His ERA is good, 3.99. His whip isn't good, 1.47, but I will give that a caveat because more recently he's been pitching a lot better. He started finding his groove in May. He had a 28-8 strikeout walk ratio in May, so his walk number started getting a lot better after he was wild earlier in the season. He started settling down and becoming better, and he is a hard thrower, man. He can strike guys out. His wildness has been his concern, but if he can get that under control, as he kind of has been, I think he's not going to be that bad. He had a 2 ERA in May. In June, he's made 1 start, and for some reason, it was a shortened start at Tampa. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass for this game because Tampa, Steinbrenner Field, that's a tough place to play. It's kind of a hitter-friendly park. He went 4 innings. They took him out after 63 pitches, so I don't know what the deal was with that. He still had 5 strikeouts, which is pretty good. 2 walks, not great. 6 hits, not great, so he did put too many guys on base. But he got screwed by the defense as well because he gave up multiple unearned runs in the game, only allowed 1 earned run. So the defense didn't help him there. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass for that. And Miami had actually won 4 starts in a row behind him prior to that. So I'm not ready to say that he's like fallen out of form or anything like that. He doesn't pitch very efficiently with his pitches, though. So you're probably, yes, they're going to have to turn it over to the bullpen, which is a little bit of a concern here. But because Miami's bullpen is rested, I'm a little bit less concerned about that. And with Washington returning of a big series, returning home from the Mets, from a series against the Mets, I think that can be a distraction spot a little bit, even though it wasn't a long road trip. These guys, they still have to get back to family life a little bit. Coming off a big series like that, even though they didn't win any of the games of the series, I don't think, they could still be maybe a little bit hungover from that, and that can kind of affect the hitters and their timing and whatever. So I think that can kind of affect Washington's offense as well. Edward Cabrera against Washington. This is part of the handicap that I like, man. He has 70 at-bats against them, and he's done pretty well. 17-6 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good. He's held to a 143 average and 511 OPS and a pretty big sample size. So Cabrera has done well against Washington. And so far this year, he's actually been better on the road with a 3.38 road ERA. So his ERA is better on the road. So the splits look okay to me as well, even though his opponent batting average is higher on the road. So it's a little bit of a mix. But I like Cabrera. I like the matchup. Mitchell Parker is pitching for Washington. He's pretty mediocre, 4.44 ERA, 1.25 whip. But I think he's pitching better right now. I think he's kind of coming back into form here. I know Washington has lost whatever this is, 5 of his last 7 outings after they'd won 5 of his first 6. He started pitching pretty poorly in May. He had a bad May, but since then he's done okay. He's gone 5 innings, given up 3 earned runs. Not a great start, but it was at Arizona, which is a very difficult park to pitch in. Hitter-friendly park against a good offense. I'm willing to say that was a decent start for him, even though he only had a 2.2 strikeout walk ratio. Then he had a 6-inning performance against Texas, even though Texas, their offense isn't good, although they just shelled the Twins a couple of times. 5.0 strikeout walk ratio in that game for Parker. He only gave up 1 earned run. So I like his trajectory. He's pitching better right now, and he's been better at home with a 3.32 ERA compared to 5.93 on the road. So Parker's been a lot better at home. He's stepping down in class here, facing a weak offense in Miami. And against Miami, he has good numbers in the past. And 36 at bats, they only have 5 hits off of him. He has a 139 average against them and a 384 OPS and a 6-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. So both starting pitchers match up pretty well in this game. So that's going to be an under in the Miami-Washington game for me. I like that one. And that's the only one that I thought was good enough to recommend to play. Patrick, thanks for hanging out, man. I like you guys hanging out here, having to get your fix, your toad fix. Andrew, that's right. Fire BB for sure. But, dude, I don't want to be the president of Israel. I mean, what would I do? I mean, if as president, would I be allowed to abolish the existence of the nation? Because that's what I would do. I don't know, man. But thank you. All right. I'm going to handicap the rest of these games, try to go through them maybe more quickly than I usually do, but let's see. Don't have any more plays though, but hang around, man, for the leans on these games at least. Toronto at Philadelphia. Plus I'm going to give out all the information about the situations and the pitching and whatever pitching matchups. Both of these teams are off yesterday, Toronto and Philadelphia. Toronto, they're continuing a road trip. They're on a nice run right now. They just swept St. Louis. They had 4 wins in a row prior to 1 loss to the Twins. Toronto is really actually hot right now. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball. So they have momentum coming into this game. It's a big series for them against Philadelphia, against a good team, even though it's a big series for Philadelphia, probably too, because Philadelphia lost 2 out of 3 to Toronto up in Toronto 2 series ago. So it is going to be a revenge series for Philadelphia. So both teams are going to show up here. We have an interesting pitching matchup. Both bullpens are rested, even though Toronto has the better bullpen. Philadelphia's has not been great this season. So Toronto has a bullpen edge. Both teams are rested, though, so the better relievers will be available here for both teams. Kevin Gausman is pitching for Toronto, having a good season, 3.87 ERA, 1.03 whip. Looking at his splits, he's been a little bit worse on the road, though, with a 4.35 road ERA. He's in decent form right now. Those walk numbers are a little bit concerning. 12-5 in his 2 starts in June. He has a 5.06 ERA in June, but he only gave up 3 earned runs in each start. It's just one of them against the A's. I don't know what happened in that one. He was really inefficient with his pitches. Didn't go that deep into that game, but he's still pitching pretty well over his last 4 starts. Toronto has won 5 of his last 6 starts after Toronto had kind of a bad start to the season. Gausman is playing better. His team is playing better. So I still think he's in decent form here. Against the Phillies in the past, he has mediocre numbers and a huge 131 at-bat sample size. A 32-8 strikeout walk ratio is good, but he has a lot of 791 OPS to them, which is pretty high, although a 252 batting average is pretty low. They do have a couple of guys that hit him well if you want to look for player props. Castellanos is 9 for 27 off him with 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Schwarber is 3 for 12 with all 3 of those hits being home runs and 5 RBIs, but a walk and then 7 strikeouts. And then Trey Turner is 9 for 26 with 3 doubles, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So those 3 guys, again, I usually recommend hits plus runs plus RBIs because the walks can still help you if you do it that way. So that's Gausman. I mean, he is in decent form right now. He has okay numbers against Philadelphia, but not anything like really crazy one way or the other. Ronier Suarez is pitching for the Phillies. He's off to a good start. He had a delayed start to the season due to injury. 2.70 ERA, 1.13 whip. He is pitching well. He's been a bit worse at home, though, significantly worse. Actually, he has a 4.37 home ERA and 0.87 on the road. So he has been worse at home, even though one of those starts was the one where he got bombed to start the season against Arizona. So maybe you have to weigh that a little bit less. But his second worst start was basically the one against Pittsburgh. Not a good lineup. That was also at home. So he's been worse at home. Against Toronto, what do we have for numbers here? I looked earlier, and I can't keep it all straight in my mind. Toronto is actually 0 for 9 off him lifetime with 1 walk, 0 ERA, 100 OPS. So he's done well against Toronto, and they really haven't seen that much of him. So it seems like Suarez does have a little bit of the pitching edge here. Philly might be a little bit extra motivated just because they might be a little bit pissed off right now. Toronto's a hot team right now, but Philadelphia, they kind of bounced back from that really awful couple of series there against Toronto, and then especially Pittsburgh, getting a couple wins against the Cubs. They are coming off a big series against the Cubs, but I think they are going to have revenge on their mind there because it's quick revenge. They just faced Toronto not long ago and lost those last two games. So I do think Philadelphia is going to show up in this game. The money, however, is coming in on Toronto. Philadelphia is down from -135 to -112. 52% of tickets on them, but 56% of the cash is coming in on Toronto. And I don't know if that's just because of, recent play. Like Toronto's been the better team recently. Toronto does have the better bullpen. Philadelphia has the better offense. So take from all that what you will. But the market read seems like the money is coming in at Toronto. They have the cash percentage and the money line has moved in their direction. So take from all that what you will. I'm not going to be recommending a play on the game, though. Anaheim at Baltimore. Baltimore played yesterday against Detroit, finishing their series while Anaheim was off. So Anaheim does have a rest advantage in this game, but Baltimore didn't use a lot of their pitchers. And again, I hate when teams do this. They list Dean Kremer as the starter, and then what do? Well, yeah, he goes 7 innings, so he basically was the starter in the game. But no, they made him a follower. They had Keegan Aiken come in and pitch 1 inning and then turn it over to Kremer. I hate when that happens because you're trying to handicap the game. You're handicapping it. I didn't play this game, but you're handicapping it like Dean Kremer is going to be the starter. You usually want to go specify on your bet, these pitchers must start. But then if you liked Detroit in the game, so you got it all right, but if Dean Kremer didn't start, so your bet winds up, being a no play, basically. It pushes, and you just get your money back when you would have won. That's some BS, man. I hate new baseball, man. Oh, yeah, let's just have a random pitcher pitch 1 inning, and then the guy who's the listed starter will come in and pitch 7 innings, so it is basically as if he started the game. Fuck you. So it's almost like how can you even figure out when a team is going to do that? Like, I don't even think you can start playing your bet as action, although maybe you can if you really think it's like just highly likely that starter is going to be like getting the starter's workload in the game. Specify action and just take the risk there, because action means that if there's a pitching change, your action still counts regardless of who the starting pitchers are. But man, it's just, I hate modern baseball, man. Anyway, I'm taking too long to talk about these games. Anaheim was off, so they do have a rested bullpen, but does that really matter? I don't know, because Anaheim's bullpen sucks. They are starting a road trip, so they're in a positive spot here. They have momentum coming off a sweep against the A's. They got some momentum coming into this series, so that is a positive spot for Anaheim, and they're rested over Baltimore, pitched yesterday. Baltimore's bullpen also isn't good, so we have two bad bullpens in this game. Oh, man, this starting pitching matchup, Jack Kohanowitz, he's not having a good season. 5.61 ERA, 1.63 whip for Anaheim. That's not good. He has an even worse ERA on the road, 6.06. That's not good. Last 2 outings, he didn't even make it 4 innings in either of them. Has had an 8-4 strikeout walk ratio and a 10.29 ERA across them. That's not good. He's not in good form right now. He's been walking way too many guys basically all season. I mean, he's got to figure that out, man, because he's kind of a control pitcher. He doesn't really blow hitters away. He's not a strikeout guy. Can't be walking all these guys, man. So he's really just been out of control. He has not been good at all. Against Baltimore, he does have good numbers for the most part, in 14 at-bats. A 3.3 strikeout walk ratio isn't that good, but he's held him to a 2.14 average. A little bit high, 782 OPS because of the 3 walks and 1 home run mixed in there from Laureano. But overall, I mean, I think that small sample size, I wouldn't factor that in that much. I think we have to basically say Kohanowitz is not good. So I think that's the way we have to handicap this, to be honest. He's not in good form. Charlie Morton really isn't in good form either. 6.59 ERA, 1.7 whip on the season. Obviously, those numbers are awful. They relegated him to the bullpen, and then they brought him back, and he actually had a couple of decent starts. But his last start was not decent, and I gave out Baltimore as a play in that game. And like basically all the pro handicappers were giving out a play on the A's in that game. I felt smart, though, man, because the A's scored 4 like right away against Morton, and then they never scored again. So my handicap still wound up working out nicely there. The A's sucking at home, Severino sucking at home. Worked out nicely, but Charlie Morton was bad, so we have to take that into account. He didn't even make it 3 innings in the game. Gave up 6 hits, 4 walks, just jamming the bases, 10 earned base runners. He did strike out 5, which is pretty good. He has strikeout stuff still somehow. But I think, have to say that Morton is not pitching well right now. Even though if you look at his history against Anaheim, and Morton has a good history against a lot of teams, but you got to take into account how bad Morton has been this season and weigh that a little bit more than how good he's been against these opponents. In 85 at-bats against Anaheim, they're only 8. He has a 25-8 strikeout walk ratio, and it's held him to a 188 average and a 587 OPS. So he has done well against Anaheim, which is why I have some hesitation here. But the way that I would lean in this game would be more about what these pitchers have done recently, even though I know the public tends to be more recency biased, but they don't really dig into these like pitcher stats like this. My handicap would be both pitchers are pitching really badly right now. They're both liable to do it again here. Charlie Morton, by the way, has also been worse at home. I forgot about that. So the splits are against both starters. Or no, excuse me, he's been better at home. My mistake, 5.8 ERA. I thought he was worse at home for some reason. No, he's actually better at home, but even so, neither pitcher has been good either on the road or at home. Doesn't even really matter. My lean in this game would be to the over, and this total is way high for a reason because both starting pitchers are that bad, and both bullpens are also awful. We have 90% of tickets on the over, but 97% of the cash. So I agree with the over there. The total's sitting at 10. The books are telling you they think this is a high-scoring game, lining it so high, and it's up to 10 with juice on the over, too. Nate, what's up, man? So, yeah, that would be a lean to the over in that game, would be my opinion. Cincinnati and Detroit. Detroit played yesterday against Baltimore, but they pretty much rested their bullpen because Skubal pitched in the game. It was a close game, though, so they did use Vest to get the save there. I don't know how many guys they use in the closer role there, but Detroit's bullpen reasonably rested coming into this after Skubal Day yesterday where they got another win behind him. Cincinnati did not play yesterday, so they're rested. So we do have rested bullpens here. Cincinnati had a 5-game win streak that they lost, finally losing to Cleveland. Cleveland, oh my God, I'm just laughing at this. Wade Miley, like, again, I was making fun of him because I'm like, how is he even like back in the league? How is he still in the league? Now he was apparently supplying Skaggs with Tyler Skaggs with PEDs or something. Is that right? Let me see. Oh no, it was the drugs that Skaggs overdosed on. Holy shit, this is crazy, man. Fentanyl. We're getting George Floyd going on here. Did people riot when Tyler Skaggs died? I don't know, man. LA's getting a lot of riots going on right now, though. But, dude, Wade Miley, he's going to be kicked out of the league, which sucks because it means we can't fade him. I want him to be in the league, man, because he sucks so much ass at pitching. I want to fade him. I have always hated Wade Miley, man, just as a terrible pitcher. I think he was on the Red Sox at one point. Like, what the fuck are you doing with this guy? He sucks. But whatever, man. His career is going to be destroyed because of that allegation, probably. Whatever. Anyway, Cincinnati and Detroit. Yeah, let's talk about them. Yeah, Cincinnati lost their win streak there, and they won 5 straight games against Cleveland all this year. So they finally lost to Cleveland. That might hang them over a little bit, man, because when you lose a win streak like that, sometimes you are hung over coming into the next game. So there are conflicting situational aspects of this game where Cincinnati is the more rested team, though, because they were off yesterday, and they're only traveling from Cleveland to Detroit, so they have a short travel here, whereas Detroit is actually returning home from a road trip, which was only a short road trip to Baltimore, though. So they only had a one-series road trip. So I always talk about how when a team returns home from a road trip, they tend to be in a distracted spot because they have to return home, get stuff done at home after being away for so long. But when it's a short road trip like that, there's less of an impact. Nick Martinez is the starter for Cincinnati today. He's having a good season, 3.7 ERA, 1.17 whip. He has been worse on the road, surprisingly, because Cincinnati's home stadium is a very hitter-friendly ballpark, but he's been worse on the road with a 4.76 road ERA. So hasn't been as good on the road. We know Detroit is a very good home team, 23-9 at home, and the Reds below 500 on the road. So something to take into account. Detroit has been strong at home, But Detroit has Keeter Montero starting, and this is one of those games you got to watch out for, man, because he might not start the game. He might wind up being a follower. We don't know, because Montero is one of those guys where he goes like maybe 4 or 5 innings, and Detroit uses a lot of their bullpen, and they kind of make it a semi-bullpen game with Keeter Montero in there, so you got to take that into account too. He's probably going to get you somewhere around 5 innings in the game, but he may come in the second inning rather than starting the game. We'll have to see. I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's been very mediocre, 4.3 ERA, 1.41 whip is too high, obviously. He's putting too many men on base. Strikeout walk ratio has been pretty bad all season. He's been keeping Detroit in games, though. Detroit's been a very good team this year, and Montero hasn't really like imploded in any of his starts, really, so he's been like not great at all, but he's been good enough that they've been staying in games, which is kind of insane. Up against Cincinnati, they don't have a whole lot of history against him. Only 3 of their batters have ever seen him. They're 3 for 8 off him, though, with a 375 average and 875 OPS with 1 double mixed in there from Connor Joe, the guy with 2 first names. I don't know what we want to do with that one, man. I mean, Nick Martinez would be the preferable starter just in general over Montero, and Cincinnati is the more rested team. But again, I just don't love any of that. So then you look at the market. The market read usually is kind of a strong indicator, but we don't see anything with the market yet because Detroit is listed as undecided, which also kind of goes to what I was saying, where that might mean Montero is not going to actually start the game. So you really got to watch this game, man. The game doesn't start until 7:10 p.m. Eastern, so if you're going to be playing this game in any capacity, I don't even really have a lean in that game. Anyway, we don't even know for sure who the starter is going to be, but I do think that if Detroit lists a different starter, I do think Montero is going to still be pitching probably around 5 innings at some point in the game. So that's what I would look for there. Yeah, Wade Miley was on the Red Sox at one point. He's been on a bunch of different teams. Dude, the Red Sox, I mean, he was one of those guys where I vaguely remember being like, why the hell would you get this guy? Like, I always really, really disliked Wade Miley because he's a junk pitcher. You know me, I like strikeout walk ratio, stuff like that. His style just never appealed to me at all. And then I got pissed when he kept like pitching somewhat effectively, even though he sucks. Justin Turner bouncing around with fake balls. No, what are we talking about? What? Justin Turner, who I believe also was on the Red Sox at one point, right? Mr. Redbeard himself, Justin Turner, who I believe is on the Cubs now. Is that correct? He's been everywhere, man. He was on the Dodgers. Believe he was on the Red Sox at some point, and then, I think he's on the Cubs now. I did not see, he has fake balls. Did he get those, like, nudicles? Have you ever seen those things, nudicles? It's actually a thing where it's a fake ball for dogs, for people that neuter their dogs, but they want their dogs to still feel like they have balls. It's so bizarre, dude. Like, what? It was on Penn and Teller's bullshit. They made fun of it. It's an actual product where for people that neuter their dogs, they can get fake testicles or testicle implants for the dog. But it's like the dog doesn't seem to care, man. And like if you give a dog fake balls, doesn't that mean the dog's gonna be going around like humping more? I don't know. I don't know how it works. Maybe not, but because the like glands have been removed or whatever, but still, it's very, very strange. But the Penn and Teller bullshit, I think it was the guy that created the nudicle, if I'm not mistaken. You go back and find this episode. Fun show, by the way, Penn and Teller bullshit. Have to go back and watch that as like a libertarian and see how many of those things I still agree with or disagree, because they were always kind of in the libertarian like vein, but like mainstream libertarian. And Penn has been really bad recently on a lot of things. They have a great magic act, by the way. Penn and Teller Live, very, very good stuff. I saw them a couple of years ago. They are coming to Boston again this year. I don't know if I'm going or not, but I think I might actually have a ticket for it because I buy tickets like a year in advance almost, and now like I'm out of a job, and it's like, what am I going to do? Sell my ticket or just go? I don't know, man. But Penn and Teller, Penn actually did a fire-breathing act when I last saw them, which is pretty crazy, and it was real fire. Like the whole event space, it was kind of a small theater, and you could feel the heat from the fire. It was crazy. They did a lot of really insane tricks at that, or illusions, I guess, at that at that one. It was crazy, dude. They put on a good live show for sure. But yeah, Penn and Teller bullshit. If you can find that episode, I know I'm going off on tangents. It's going to be a really long episode. Find the episode where they talked about nudicles. I think it was the episode. It was like probably called Pets or something like that. It was an episode about people that are too obsessed with their pets and how crazy they are. And all these people are like horrible people. Like they actually hate their animals, dude. Like they mistreat the animals. It's kind of gross. So they did an episode about that. I think I would still agree with Penn and Teller's take on that episode. But I'm pretty sure it was the guy that created the nudicle. He's this like crazy, weird, like pervert dude. Like check this guy's hard drive basically. But he had his dog with the nudicles, and he was like there, like rubbing his dog's like fake balls. He's like, yeah, like these nudicles right here, like they feel really good, right? Like they almost feel like the real thing. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? This guy's massaging his dog's fake balls. I'm like, what is happening here? And he had the nudicles on his. He had keychains with nudicles on them as well. So fake dog ball keychains. Yeah, is that good luck? I don't know, man. All right, I'm thinking about, I think I need more water here, man, before I get into this big game between the Yankees and the Red Sox, which is one of the big weekend series. Allow me to, I will be right back. Let me grab some more water here. I will be right back, guys. Scott, thanks for hanging out as well. JC, thanks for hanging out. I know. I'm talking about sports. What are you talking about, Scott? I was talking about, why did I start talking about fake balls? I don't even remember. Oh, because of this. That's why. It's Nate's fault, man. He put me on that tangent there. I still don't even know what the Justin Turner thing is, but you can let me know if you know if Justin Turner has fake balls or something. I don't know what's going on. I'll be right back, guys. Hang on one second. All right, we're back. As long as you guys can hear me, you can let me know. Yeah, Nate is a sicko. That's right. And now I'm gonna have fake balls. I'm gonna have microplastics all filling my balls from all this. Oh, I should probably take the cap off, right? I'll just suck it. I'm just gonna blow my bottle of water or my bottle of water here. I just said ball again. Stop saying balls. We're gonna talk about baseball here now, though. More balls. He was wearing fake balls in the dugout. What does that even mean? At least that's nowhere near as bad as the nudicles perversion going on there. He was probably doing it as, just being a bro. Probably some Tower Gang energy going on there, whatever he was doing with the fake balls. So I'm fine with that. That seems funny. I kind of like Justin Turner. All right. What was I talking about? What game was I talking about here? You guys can still hear me, right? Let me make sure. Hopefully you can't hear that train that's going by right now. These trains go by in the middle of the day, and it kind of pisses me off. The fucking horns and whatever. Like, stop honking. Like, you're distracting me, man. I hate it. All right, let me get back to this here. Make sure that my audio's good. You guys could let me know if it is. I'm going to check real quick, though, just to make sure, because I'm a professional here, Yeah, there we go. All right, yeah. Nudicles. It's not nude like nude. It's nudicles with a T, like neuter. It's like a combination of neuter and testicle. You know what I mean? By the way, neuter, we should call OnlyFans chicks neuters, right? Because they get nude online. Neuters. I got to talk about baseball here, man. What are we doing? Yeah, go to jail, obviously. Oh, no, Nudicles has an account. Oh, you're talking about the Justin Tucker thing. All right, I thought you were going to tag me on like a post from Nudicles. They probably have a Twitter account, to be honest, if they're still around. Yankees, Red Sox. Let's talk about this, man. Red Sox did not play yesterday, and the Yankees did. So the Red Sox do have rest, and they're staying at home because I know, because I was in that mob of Red Sox fans, both of those last two Tampa Bay Red Sox games there, because I was going to Queens of the Stone Age shows right next to Fenway. So I was in the Red Sox crowd there, both before and after the rock shows, which, by the way, I got recognized in line. Crazy experience. I know I'm going off on all these tangents, and I want to finish this video, but the second day of Queens of the Stone Age, Wednesday, I'm in line there, and when I'd entered the line, there was this one guy that kind of looked at me like he recognized me, and I kind of thought that he looked familiar to me too, although I don't actually know this guy, but he kind of looked like some other people that I know, I think. And then I started talking to this couple who was in front of me in line. They were pretty cool. We were just talking about, the logistics of parking situation, talking some music, what you do when you're in line. Of course, you talk about the music when you're in line. You have shared musical interests, of course. Then the dude who seemed to have given me that weird look earlier, all of a sudden asked me, "Hey, dude, are you Twitter famous?" I'm like, "Yeah," but probably not for the reasons that you would prefer. It's probably not the greatest reasons. He was like, "Nah, man, it's all right. It's cool. That's cool." And then he started telling the people that he was with who I am or whatever. And I think he was pulling me up on Twitter or something, probably showing them my Yay HH cover. Crazy stuff, man. And then not only did that happen, but then right after he said that, the couple that I've been talking to were like, "Wait a minute. You were just on Legion of Skanks, right?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" So this couple that I was talking to watches Legion of Skanks. I'm like, these people are out there, man. This is crazy. I think there are more people that are in are on our side of things than you would think, I think. So I started talking to that couple about that. "Yeah, you're that ukulele dude, the Biggest Loser." I'm like, "Yep, that is me." Yeah. It's insane. So that couple in front of me, because you never know. I mean, you're in Boston. You just kind of by default assume that people are just not going to agree with you on anything. But then it just so happens that this couple in front of me, who, by the way, mixed race couple, by the way, and it was the opposite races than you would think, I think, which is probably why they're still together. But they, they like Skanks. I mean, they're down with the offensive comedy. So yeah. I mean, I told them, about Tower Gang, whatever, even though I was like, well, the show's dead, but yeah. All right. Yankees, Red Sox, let's get into this, man. This is going to be a long-ass video. Yankees played yesterday. Red Sox did not. The Yankees, I believe, swept Kansas City. Sorry, Zach, about that, which I'm as angry as you are about it, to be honest, because I want the Yankees to lose. The Yankees did use some of their better relievers. I mean, better, if you want to even call Williams better. I mean, he's been very inconsistent as their closer. But they did use him and some of their other better relievers yesterday. So the Yankees are at a little bit of a rest disadvantage here, and they're traveling in from Kansas City, where the Red Sox are just staying put. So the Red Sox have a rest and a travel advantage here against the Yankees. The Yankees do have the better hitting, although the Red Sox have been hitting pretty well at home. And again, Red Sox have all these young guys, man. They're starting to come up with Mayer and Roman Anthony, who I just called Roman yesterday. I like just calling him Roman, the Roman Empire. And they got Christian Campbell. They got all these young guys coming up, man. Could this Red Sox, I mean, this could be the next, Red Sox dynasty. Maybe I'm definitely, I have positive thoughts about what the Red Sox are doing with these these young hitters and their position players, but I have very negative thoughts about what they're doing with their pitching, except for the guy who was on the mound tonight, Garrett Crochet. Now, obviously, Crochet is the better of these two pitchers. This is the same matchup that we had in the last series. Red Sox were at New York, and the Red Sox actually won 2 out of 3, even though the Red Sox were pretty big underdogs for the most part in that series. One of the games was the same pitching matchup, Yarbrough and Crochet, and neither pitcher did that well, although Yarbrough did worse than Crochet did. So Yarbrough's on the mound here. Now, the Yankees, on the one hand, yes, they don't have rest here. They have a travel disadvantage, a rest disadvantage. They're going to want revenge, though, because the Red Sox did beat them in New York. So the Yankees are still going to be focused. So I think that kind of negates the travel and rest disadvantage a bit. although maybe not enough, that they're going to be able to overcome the other negatives that they have in this one. Now, Red Sox offense, I think, is actually, at least at home at Fenway, the Red Sox offense is not really that much worse than the Yankees offense. Yankees still obviously have the better offense, but the Red Sox offense has been coming around, especially at home, and they're facing Ryan Yarbrough, who's really not that good. I think he's just kind of a guy that has to fill that role in the Yankees rotation right now because they got injuries and whatever, with Heel not being there, etc. Yarbrough has a 4.17 ERA, 1.15 whip. He's actually been good for them so far this year, but that last outing against the Red Sox was awful. He gave up 8 runs in 4 innings, 9 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, not good at all. Gave up a home run. So he basically fell out of form in that start after the Yankees had won 4 starts of his. The Red Sox were definitely able to hit him, and with the Red Sox having just seen him, he probably won't do as bad as this again. I mean, that's a really awful start, but the Red Sox are able to touch him up, so I don't think he's going to come out and like totally dominate this time. I mean, hopefully not, but his numbers against the Red Sox obviously are not that great, including that last start. In 61 at-bats, they have a 279 average and 809 OPS off him, so it's not as crazy as you would think, though. The Red Sox don't dominate him as much as you would necessarily think. Romy Gonzalez is actually 4 for 5 on the home run off him, so that's really your best player prop option there. I think Toro is 2 for 6, which isn't bad either. Devers does have a home run off him and a bunch of other numbers, 3 walks, 6 RBIs, but only 7 for 29, not a very good average. So we'll see what happens here, but Yarbrough, yeah, I'm not sure that he's that great, man. He has been better on the road, though, with a 2.25 ERA, but he also has not pitched in Fenway Park yet, which is a hitter-friendly park. He did pitch at the A's, though, which is a very hitter-friendly park as well, but that wasn't a great start for him, really. He only had a 2-to-1 strikeout-walk ratio, went 5 innings, and they just, figured they'd take him out of the game, I guess. So his road starts, and the A's just suck at home, so that is also a factor there, and that was his other road start was against the Dodgers, though, so you do have to give him credit for that, or one of his other ones. The other was against Anaheim. They don't hit that well, but although they have been hitting a bit better recently, but the Dodgers was his most impressive start, so I think it's really difficult to handicap Yarbrough, but of course Crochet is pitching for the Red Sox. He's having a really good season, 2.35 ERA, 1.07 whip. Even in his last outing, the game where he faced off against Yarbrough, his numbers were way better than Yarbrough's, though. He gave up 5 runs, but if you look at the rest of what he did in that game, it was a pretty good start, really. In 6 innings, he had 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, gave up 6 hits, so he got unlucky in that game. He gave up a home run. I think he definitely got unlucky to give up 5 runs there. Like, if you look at all of his other stats on that line, doesn't look that bad. Crochet is in good form right now. Red Sox did win the last 2 of his starts, and he got wins in both of them. Against the Yankees, his numbers are mediocre, though, I believe. Let me look. Yeah, I mean, in 32 at-bats, he has a pretty nice 14-2 strikeout walk ratio, but they have a 281 average and 824 OPS off him, so the numbers are a little bit high. Bellinger really hits him, 4 for 5 on the home run. Wells is 2 for 3 on the home run, so those 2 guys are player prop potential, but other than that, not a whole lot of damage being done against Crochet. So Crochet does have the upper hand here. So you're still looking at the Red Sox having a travel edge, a rest edge. Crochet is the better starting pitcher. And the Yankees are public here, man, because I think the public's looking at this saying, well, this is a rivalry matchup, even though the public knows who Crochet is. But I think they look and see Yarbrough's numbers are also pretty good. They know the Yankees have the better record. So the public is gravitating towards the Yankees right now. And they look like a dreaded public road underdog here. 74% of tickets, only 64% of the cash. Red Sox up from minus 135 to minus 142. So I would actually still lean to the Red Sox in that game. I think it's a decent situation for them there in that game. Even though the Yankees are going to want revenge, obviously the Red Sox are showing up here too because it is a decent I mean, it's a huge rivalry game, so the Red Sox are going to show up for that reason is what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just thinking, oh, the Red Sox are decent at home. But yeah, I mean, huge rivalry. Both teams will show up. But I also think the Red Sox, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they are getting a little bit unlucky, man, because the Red Sox have the worst record in Major League Baseball in one-run games. Last I saw, they were like 6-17 in one-run games. Well, I know they just won one against Tampa Bay. But if you lose that many one-run games, it usually means you're getting a little bit unlucky because those games are basically coin flips and you're falling on the wrong side of them. However, I was saying that some of it is because the Red Sox don't have leadership and they don't have that like killer instinct. Like their management is not good. Their manager is not good. And they make so many mistakes in the field. And that's still the case. But some of it is going to be because of their youth. But still, so I could see it both ways there. So maybe the Red Sox are at least a little bit better than, the Skanks are out there, man. Did I watch what? I haven't. If you tag me in the Justin Turner video, I'll watch it. I'll watch it in a little while. Yeah. All right. I think that's all I have to say, though. So maybe the Red Sox are a bit unlucky with that record in one-run games, but some of it probably is still what I said, though, where they're kind of missing that killer instinct. Let's keep going. So slight lean to the Red Sox in that game. They're favored by as much as they are for a reason, man. So it is going to tempt the it looks too tempting to take the Yankees as an underdog. As far as like the public is concerned, Tampa is at New York at the Mets. The Mets played yesterday, but they're staying at home. They did have to use some of their relievers because Kodai Senga got hurt, and he's going on the disabled list or whatever. Oh, you can't say disabled anymore, I guess, man. It's, I don't know, it's whatever. It's offensive now. I guess it's the injured list. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, because Senga's having a really good season for the Mets. I think he fell off the mound weird yesterday, too, or something happened. I don't know. He got injured. So they did have to use some of their better relievers yesterday. They did use their closer to close out the game yesterday. So the Mets, they're staying at home, but they do have a bit of a rest disadvantage because Tampa did not play yesterday. Tampa is traveling in for Boston, so not a whole lot of travel. Taj Bradley is on the mound for Tampa. He's not having that great of a season. 4.58 ERA, 1.25 whip, pretty mediocre. He's not really in good form. I mean, he had a couple of good starts in a row, and then he just had an awful start against Miami, and that's not a good sign because Miami is not a good offense. He gave up 7 runs in that game in 4 innings, 2.2 strikeout walk ratio. So I think Bradley has fallen out of form a bit here. Home road split's very insignificant for him. He's about the same either way, so not really anything to really look at as far as that's concerned. And he is facing a good lineup in the Mets here, so he's having to step up in class from the Marlins to the Mets, but he actually has good numbers against the Mets in the past. It's a very small sample size, though, 16 at bats. They're only 2 for 16 off him, although Alonso is 1 for 1 with a home run and a walk. But overall, he's held to a 125 average, 535 OPS, and 2.2 strikeout walk ratio is not that good. But overall, Bradley's numbers are actually pretty good, specifically against the Mets. So take all of that into account, man. I tend to lean towards his current form not being very good, though. He's up against Clay Holmes for the Mets, who is, again, been one of those pitchers that I can't handicap correctly because he's surprising me, pitching a lot better than I would think. 2.95 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's pitching well this year. He's been a little bit worse at home, though, with a 3.5 home ERA, which is still not bad, though. He's in pretty good recent form with a 9.0 strikeout walk ratio in June, but both of those starts were against the Rockies. One was at Coors Field, which is not an easy place to pitch, but still, the Rockies' offense is terrible, so you do have to kind of dial it back a little bit on Holmes here because he beat the Rockies, and then his start prior to that, the Mets were able to beat the White Sox. So again, he was facing really bad offenses. So I think we can kind of, he's in decent form right now, but we got to kind of like, we got to have measured expectations here as far as that's concerned because it was against bad offenses. And even in that White Sox game, he had a 3.3 strikeout walk ratio, which is not good. He is up against, who was I talking about? Tampa Bay? Let me see. I want to try to handicap these games quickly, man, but I get autistic and I have to throw all the pitching stats out there. Tampa has 27 at-bats against him. A 7.4 strikeout walk ratio is not that good for him, but he has held him to a 185 average and 513 OPS, so I still probably prefer Holmes in that matchup of the two starting pitchers, but yeah, I mean, there are some reasons to think that Tampa may have a little bit of an edge here because they're rested. Both bullpens are pretty good, but Tampa is coming in with a rested bullpen. 85% of tickets, only 84% of the cash on the Mets. The Mets are very public. They're up from -155 to -170. Mets have a really good record right now. They're a pretty hot commodity right now, so I think the price on them is probably not giving you any value, really. You're probably paying too much for the Mets. So maybe a slight lean against them, but a very small lean. And it looks like a lot of money on the under as the totals drop from 8.5 down to 8. 52% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the under. So a pretty strong market read on the under in that one, expecting that maybe the matchup numbers do actually matter a little bit. And Bradley does have pretty good matchup numbers against the Mets. Just in his current form, I definitely worry because that was a bad start against a bad offense for him. So we will see what happens in that game. Colorado is at Atlanta. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Nate. We should call it the most offensive thing possible. We should go in the other direction, man. Pendulum swing in the other direction. Colorado at Atlanta. Colorado played yesterday, and they actually had a nice big win at home against San Francisco. So they're coming off a big divisional win. So I think this is a pretty bad spot for them, man, because I believe Atlanta was off yesterday. So it's not a good spot for Colorado, but I think Atlanta's returning home from a road trip too, which I'll look at in a second. But Colorado, they had a 3-run ninth inning. They actually overcame a 7-2 deficit against the Giants from the 6th inning onward, and Colorado won the game against the Giants. Very good bullpen. Crazy. Nobody would really expect that. A huge win for the Rockies, now having to travel down to Atlanta. Now, the one thing about the Rockies that might make it a positive is they are heading out on the road with momentum now. And they broke a loss streak of 5 games or whatever there. So when a team breaks a loss streak, a lot of times that will start some new momentum for them there. And actually that win helped them, I guess, avoid the worst start through however many games this is in modern history or something. But I think they are still on pace to have the worst overall record in modern history. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though. But they could be in a letdown spot because they just had a huge comeback win over San Francisco, but they're going out on the road to start a road trip. It's usually a focus spot, and they are playing the Atlanta Braves, even though the Braves don't have a good record. You're the Rockies, man. So the Rockies, they can't really afford to take anybody lightly. They're trying to avoid having a really embarrassing season, and they, the Braves just carry a lot of weight behind their names, so I'm not sure that it's really going to be that much of a letdown for Colorado. Atlanta's returning home from a road trip, like I said, where they actually went out to the Pacific Coast, played the Giants, then they went to Milwaukee, and now they're returning home. So it is not a good spot for Atlanta, especially playing a bad Colorado team, because when you return home, again, like I said, you tend to get distracted, having to return to home life. And playing against the Colorado Rockies, you're not really going to focus on the Rockies. They're a laughably bad team. So not really a good spot for Atlanta. Pitching matchup, though, they're going up against German Marquez, who you never want to bank on this guy to be any good ever. He's got a 7 ERA, 1.68 whip. That's terrible. He's actually been way worse on the road. In Coors Field, he's got a 4.91 ERA. I think probably he's not a fly ball pitcher or something. I haven't even really looked, but probably that's why they're doing that. Why the Rockies want this guy, because he's actually pitching better at Coors Field. He has a horrific 8.82 ERA on the road. It's just insane. He's not in particularly good form. He did go 5 innings in his last, at least 5 innings in his last 4 starts. He actually had a couple of good starts in there against Philadelphia and the Cubs, shockingly, but he's starting to regress again. His last 2 starts weren't that good against Miami and the Mets. 9-2 strikeout walk ratio wasn't that bad, but he gave up a bunch of runs. So he's still continuing to not be very good. Up against the Atlanta Braves, 75 at bats. They have a 347 average against them and a 1,014 OPS. So the Braves have good numbers against them. Albies, I don't know. How do you pronounce his name? I have no idea. He's 6 for 14 with 2 home runs off him. Murphy is 4 for 10 with 2 doubles. And a walk. Olsen is 6 for 13 with a couple doubles and a couple of walks. Ozuna 2 for 8 with a home run. So a lot of guys hit him fairly well. And a walk. And Verdugo 4 for 8 with 2 doubles. So a lot of guys hit him pretty well. So a lot of player prop potential in that game. And Bryce Elder is pitching for Atlanta. I'm not a fan. His numbers are actually not bad this year. 4.08 ERA, 1.17 whip. He's actually turning it around, and he is in good form right now. He's coming off a 12 strikeout performance against San Francisco after he was pretty shaky against the Red Sox. But if you go all the way back to starting on April 23rd, he hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start. So he is actually pitching pretty well, and his strikeout walk ratio has been good over the last couple of months. 17-3 in May and 16-3 in June so far. So Elder is actually pitching better right now, and he's been better at home with a 3.62 ERA. So he's actually he's doing a lot better right now than Marquez is, so he obviously is the preferred pitcher. I mean, that's not really a surprise. But his numbers against the Rockies aren't that good in 24 at-bats. 333 average, 1,074 OPS allowed. Goodman is 3 for 6 on the home run. McMahon is 2 for 5 on the home run and 3 walks. A couple of guys with some player prop potential there. So we will see, man. I mean, it's a crazy game there. I would probably lean to an over in that game. I mean, I don't think you could play a price on the Atlanta side. I mean, they're up from minus 275 to minus 315. Colorado is so bad that they're a monster underdog against a team with a losing record. It's insane, and a significantly losing record. That's how bad Colorado is, that they're a massive underdog against a team like that, even though Atlanta is better than the record looks. But still, Atlanta in a return home spot, you can't lay a price like this with Atlanta. Up from minus 275 to minus 315, no way. 76% of tickets, 89% of the cash. The money looks like it's coming in on Atlanta. Yeah, they have the better of the pitchers. I don't even know if I agree with that. I would probably lean to an over, but the money looks like it's disagreeing with it. 68% of tickets on the over, only 61% of the cash. The total's high for a reason at 9. Because Marquez gets lit up by Atlanta. He basically gets lit up by everybody. And I still don't trust Elder. The only issue I really have is that Elder is in bad form. Elder is not in bad form right now. He's in good form right now, So I don't really want to fade Elder. But he has bad stats against Colorado, surprisingly. But Colorado, they don't hit well on the road either, though. So that worries me a little bit. And Atlanta returning over from a road trip means their bats could be a little bit of a question mark there. TBM, thank you, man. I don't know what the banger was, but I'm trying to be a little bit funnier in this episode. It's going to be a little bit longer, though. Let's get through this. White Sox in Texas. I didn't even look at this game earlier, man, because I think I just completely skipped it by accident, but we don't even know who Texas' starting pitcher is going to be unless we have one listed here, do we? Nope, undecided, so we don't even know what's going to go on here. The White Sox played yesterday at Houston, lost by 1. So the White Sox are at a rest they're not at a rest disadvantage. Excuse me, Texas played yesterday too, sorry. Both teams played yesterday, so there's no real rest edge one way or the other. White Sox rested their bullpen yesterday, although they had to use a couple of their better relievers because it was a close game. The White Sox bullpen not very good, though. Texas has the much better bullpen. But Texas, they're coming off a series where they scored 16 runs in 2 of the games, man. Bailey Ober, my man, didn't do well at all in that game, unfortunately. Texas blowing out Minnesota twice, man. 16-4 and 16-3. And when you have a series where you do that in 2 out of 3 games, man, you're going to be feeling pretty high on yourself. And Texas is returning home from a long road trip where they went to Tampa Bay, Washington, Minnesota. So the spot is pretty bad for Texas here. The White Sox are just kind of continuing a road trip, I think. And they're not traveling as far because the White Sox are just going from, where are they going? It was Detroit, right? No, it was, Houston. So a little bit longer. Oh, no, less of a trip. What am I saying? What am I even saying? So, yeah. So the White Sox are only going from Houston up to Arlington. So they're staying in Texas. So it's a shorter trip for the White Sox here. So they do have a travel advantage here. And again, Texas returning home from a road trip, usually a bad spot. And after lighting up Minnesota like this, I think it's a bad spot for Texas, man. So I didn't look at this game before. I might actually recommend a play on this. Let's see. Texas used 4 relief pitchers yesterday, so that's not great for Texas, even though they do have a better bullpen. Their bullpen rest scenario is at a disadvantage. Again, we don't even know who their starting pitcher is going to be. Adrian Hauser is pitching for the White Sox, and he's actually pitching well this year. The former Brewer, 1.48 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. He's been decent both ways, even though he's been a little bit worse on the road, but still a 2.19 road ERA isn't bad at all. He's in good form right now, too, man. I mean, he's made really all of his starts have been good, even though he walked 3 guys and only struck out 2 against Seattle, but he didn't give up any runs. Then he had a 6-inning shutout against the Mets on the road, which is pretty impressive. 6-1 strikeout walk ratio, only 3 hits allowed. 6-1 strikeout walk ratio in 3 straight starts. Beating Baltimore and Kansas City. Yeah, those offenses aren't that good, but still he's pitching pretty impressively right now. He's pitching well, man, for the White Sox. And actually, Texas is another former team of his. So let's see. Does he have another little bit of an edge here? Let me see. When was he on Texas? Because he has a Texas uniform on in his profile picture here, and yet he's on the White Sox. When the hell was he on Texas? It looks like he was on Texas and he never actually pitched for them. So when was he on Texas? I don't actually know. Might have to look that up. But if he's also facing the team that he was most recently on and that just got rid of him, he might even be more pumped up, man, to face the team that got rid of him. And maybe Texas's pitching coaches worked with him and figured something out with him and found something, because he's looking pretty good right now. He's up against Texas here. Texas's offense is not that good. They do have pretty good numbers against Hauser, though. In 25 at-bats, he has a 7-1 strikeout walk ratio, which is good, but a 280 average allowed, 868 OPS. Those numbers are not that great. So I got to dial back my love for the White Sox in this game a little bit, but maybe not a whole lot, because, like, which of these hitters are really doing that much damage against them? Seager is one of their best hitters. He's 2 for 4 with a home run. And Berger, one of their other best hitters, is 2 for 4 with a home run. But other than that, really there's not a whole lot going on here. So maybe you could take away a little bit less from those matchup stats there. And we don't know who Texas is going to be putting on the mound in this game, man. So Texas might be going with a bullpen game, or they might have somebody bad on the hill here. So let's see. What are we looking at for a number here? You know you're going to get an underdog price here on the White Sox. Texas down from minus 185 to minus 177. Man. I kind of like the White Sox in this spot, man. I'm not going to lie. Texas, I think, yeah, I mean, their offensive explosion, I think, is kind of misleading, because their offense really has not been that good, even though I think they're probably better than they've been playing this season so far. Let me see here. Wait, I can't go to Action Network. You guys are still here, right? I'm still online. I haven't totally lost my internet, right? Anthony, good to see you again, man. The most high-scoring series, either 3 or 4 by one team by the end of the series. Do you mean this year or ever? I don't know the answer to that. I could look it up, but let me see if I have internet right now, man. I don't know why. Why is Action Network not working for me right now? I wanted to see what the best number was on. Well, let me just start going to Action Network. Like, gives me a breakdown of all the books on like one screen. That's why I'm trying to look at it to figure out what's going on here. But let me look at. I'll just have to go to. I'll give you just a quick idea of what the odds are in this game here. Let me see. As far as the what the heck? I'm looking at Major League Baseball on DraftKings, and they don't even have a. I don't even see anything up here as far as the Major League. What is going on here, man? All right, let's go to FanDuel. Dude, I have no idea what's happening right now. FanDuel does have this game up. Let me see. You have to go action on this probably, which I think is the only thing you can bet right now, because the starting pitchers aren't listed. Although maybe you could say, you could specify starting pitchers must be listed, and then is Hauser must start against anybody starting for Texas. I don't know if the books do that or not. You can get the White Sox at plus 1.5, minus 134 right now, and plus 154 on the money line right now. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do a split bet on the White Sox here. Let's add one more play. We'll do the White Sox plus 1.5, minus 135 or whatever. You might be able to get a little bit of better number than this, and the other half on the plus 154. So I'm recommending putting half of the bet on the plus 1.5, because Texas does still play a lot of low-scoring games. So having that 1.5 run line in your back pocket is probably a good idea. If you want to just go all on the run line, that's okay as well. Then you have to pay a little bit for it. So you could split it and have a nice cheaper price on the money line. You could go balls to the wall and go all money line and get a nice cheap price on that and just go for the shot on that. Because you're not saying that you think they're going to win the game every time. You're just saying you think they're going to win 40% of the time or whatever, getting a number like that. So it's a good underdog number. And if you split this half and half, if they lose by 1, you'll still win some money on it. So it's a little bit of a less risk-averse way to do it. So I'm going to recommend a play on the White Sox. I think this is a fade spot for the Texas Rangers. I don't care who their starting pitcher is going to be. It's likely not going to be anybody that's going to really scare us here. I'm worried a little bit about Hauser as far as his stats are concerned against Texas specifically, but other than that, I'm not too worried. Let me see if I can find the answer to that real quickly, man, because I appreciate you guys watching the show. So let me see. Highest scoring MLB series, single team. Let's see if we can find that here. The Cubs seem to have a record against some old Louisville team in the 1800s. They had the highest scoring single game. Most runs scored in a single game by one team. I want to see most runs scored in a 3-game series. I see somebody trying to answer this on Reddit. The answer to that is, it looks like it's 47. Although this was 6 years ago, it was 47 runs scored in a series by the Cubs 6 years ago. Let me see. Is that right? But I see a correction. Let's see. So the Cubs back in 2019 had a series against the Pirates where they scored 17, 14, and 16 in a 3-game series. It says that was their 4th most runs scored in any 3-game series, though, so that's not the answer either. So I don't know. It's very difficult to find this answer, man. Somebody is saying that the actual record was 48 runs scored in 1894. Oh, no, they're talking specifically about the Cubs, though. Yeah, I can't figure out the answer right now. I want to finish the video, though. I apologize, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what the answer is to that, to that question. All right. We got Minnesota and Houston. Of course, Minnesota is the other side of that, where they played yesterday. Both of these teams played yesterday, though, so there's no real rest edge here either. Minnesota got embarrassed in that series against Texas, man. So I think one of the best things that you could do is to just go out on the road, man. So Minnesota just leaving home, go out on the road, go down to Houston, forget about what just happened at home. I think that's a positive for Minnesota. It's a good spot. Just go out on the road. Houston is staying at home, though. So not anything to see there. They do have a bit of a travel edge just because they're staying at home. How much attention will they pay to Minnesota? I don't really know. Chris Paddock is on the mound for Minnesota, and he's pitching pretty well. 3.53 ERA, 1.12 whip. I worry a little bit because his strikeout number went down in his last game, too, with 2 walks, but it was still a decent 6-inning, 2-run performance against Toronto. Paddock has actually been pitching well, even though his team has lost 4 more games in a row with him starting, but it was not his fault. He's getting no offensive output behind him. He is pitching pretty well, really over the last, the whole season, really. He hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start since he had one really bad start to open the season against the White Sox, and since then he's been really consistent and pretty good otherwise. A little bit worse on the road, 3.96 ERA, but that's not that bad. But I believe Houston does have good numbers off him. Let me see. 43 at-bats, 9.4 strikeout walk ratio. Houston has a 3.02 average and not really that high of a 734 OPS against him, though. So I'm not ready to say that Houston just obliterates this guy. And I think the fact that Paddock is pitching way better this year is a little bit more of what you want to look at. He's in better form right now. He did face Houston really early in the year, but it was his second start of the season. He didn't have a good start in that one either. Only went 4 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. 1 unearned run came home. He walked 2 guys, gave 7 hits. That's not good. And only struck out 2. But Paddock really had not found his form yet. So I think he is in better form here. So I'm a little bit less worried about those numbers from Houston. Houston does have Colton Gordon starting, though, and his numbers don't look good. 5.11 ERA, 1.38 whip. But if you look at his start by start, look at his stats start by start, he actually hasn't been that bad. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all but one start where he allowed 4 earned runs, and he still had a 6.1 strikeout walk ratio there. His strikeout walk ratio is good, 25-3. He's just allowing too many hits, 31 and 24 and 2/3 innings pitched, and allowed 4 home runs. So that's been his problem. He's allowed too many hits and too many home runs. He's coming off a nice bounce-back start after giving up those runs against Tampa Bay. Houston's won 4 of his 5 starts so far. He pitched well against Cleveland in that bounce-back start. 5 strikeouts, no walks, 7 hits allowed in 5 innings. Not bad at all. He's been worse at home, though, the 6.28 ERA, but that was because that one bad start against Tampa was at home, although his other home starts were iffy, kind of. Overall, I don't think Gordon is that bad, though. And he's actually a rookie right now, so he's had a delayed start to his major league career, probably due to injury, but it means Minnesota's never seen him before. So what do we do with this game? Probably under is probably what I'm going to say in this game is what makes the most sense. The total's down from 8 juice to the over to 8. 73% of tickets on the over, but 69% of the cash on the under. I mean, Minnesota's just coming off getting smacked by Texas, so people are only going to want to look to overs in their games, which, by the way, I think maybe looking towards an over doesn't make sense in the Texas game either because they just scored so much in that series. The total up from 8.5 to 9 in that game. I would not want to play an over in that game with two teams that really don't score a whole lot, White Sox and Texas, typically, although Texas is starting to play better. But still, I don't think they're a high-scoring team really now just because of one series where they did not face like the greatest pitching in that series either. I'm sorry, Bailey Ober. Anyway, yeah, under I think makes the most sense here, though. Minnesota coming off giving up a ton of runs, so it seems a little bit counterintuitive. Gordon's ERA doesn't look that good. People don't think Paddock is as good as he is. I think his Houston-specific stats are actually not really as bad as they maybe look. So, yeah, the money's all coming in on the under, and this was 73% of tickets on the over, 69% of the cash on the under. Total down from 8 juice to the over to 8. So that's a lean in that one. A's are at Kansas City. The A's were off yesterday, so they have a rest edge here. They're traveling in from the Pacific Coast. They're on the road. I mean, they started in Anaheim, lost every game in Anaheim. Now they're going to Kansas City. They might be focused, though. I mean, just coming off a series where they got swept, they might be a little bit angry. The A's actually play a little bit better on the road. That home stadium in Sacramento they're playing in has just been very bad for them. Kansas City coming off a bigger series and played yesterday and played a close game with kind of a dramatic finish against the Yankees where they gave up a late run in the 8th inning and lost to the Yankees. So Kansas City, even though they're not traveling, I think they're kind of in the worst spot here coming off a big series. A's coming in. Both teams are coming off a sweep, though. So both teams might be a little bit focused because they're coming off a sweep. But I think the A's having the rest edge and a little bit of a situational edge here does matter. Severino is pitching for the A's. Overall, not good numbers. 4.77 ERA, 1.33 whip. But this guy has the most extreme splits that you'll ever see. He has a 7.1 ERA at home now. As I keep talking about, his numbers at home are horrific in that really hitter-friendly ballpark. And he has a .87 ERA on the road. It's been like he's a completely different person between home and away. It's insane. So he is way, way better on the road. He's not in good form, but I mean, his last couple of starts are in that home stadium, so how much can you really take away from that? I think we lean more towards him being way better on the road than looking at his most recent starts, to be honest. Even though you have to say he's not in good recent form, his team has lost 6 straight games with him on the hill, but 4 of them were at home. So again, he's been a little bit better on the road. Those last 2 road starts are actually pretty good. Went 6 innings in each of them against Houston and San Francisco. They not great hitting teams, but he allowed 0 and 1 earned run in those starts. And by the way, Minnesota's not that great a hitting team either. Up against Minnesota, what do we got for Severino? His numbers actually aren't that good against Minnesota. In 80 at-bats, 287 average, allowed 825 OPS. Correa does really well against him, 6 for 19 with a home run and 3 walks. So some damage being done there. Buxton is 3 for 8 with a home run. There's a couple of player prop ideas there. France, 3 for 6 with a double and a couple RBIs. Those are mostly the guys that you'd want to look towards, I think. Overall, though, Severino has been way better on the road, and he's facing a worse. Oh, no, he's facing Kansas City. Oh, my God. Why do I keep getting this wrong? My mistake. I got to look at his numbers against Kansas City. I apologize. Oh, it already switched to Kansas City. Thank you, ESPN. He has way better numbers against Kansas City. My mistake. 54 at-bats. Kansas City is an even weaker offense than Minnesota. Yeah, sorry. I'm talking about the Royals, Zach, and I just completely screwed that up. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, Zach. 204 average allowed, 709 OPS allowed. That's not that bad for Severino. So his numbers against the Royals are not that bad. Waka is pitching for Kansas City. He's having an effective season, man. I mean, he's definitely a veteran who knows how to use his pitches, man. 3.01 ERA, 1.17 whip. He's been better at home with a 1.8 home ERA. So the splits look pretty good for a pitching matchup in this game, man. Waka is in pretty good form right now. 11 strikeouts, 2 walks over his last 2 starts. One against Detroit. Pretty good outing there. A 1-hit, 7-inning shutout. That's pretty good. 6-inning performance against the White Sox. Decent. I mean, he gave up 2 home runs, which kind of skewed his numbers in that game, allowing still only 3 earned runs there. And the White Sox had just seen him not that long before that. So that was maybe a little bit of an edge to the White Sox hitting that next time out, even though they're familiar with Waka anyway. Waka against the A's, very small sample size, so I don't know how much you can read into these numbers. 9 at-bats, he's allowed a 333 average and 889 OPS, which doesn't look very good, but Only 3 of the A's hitters have even faced him before, which is kind of surprising because Walker's been around for forever. But very small sample size, so he is unfamiliar to a lot of the A's hitters. So I think the lean in this game is also the under. Total down from 9 to 8, both just the under there. So some movement towards the under. Over is public, 82% of tickets on the over because the A's seem to get involved in all these high-scoring games. 95% of the, I mean, obviously, because they play in that ridiculous stadium. 95% of the cash on the over, but I don't agree with the cash percentage there. I think under and the A's are the leans in that game because, like I said, the A's did have yesterday off. Kansas City, though, remember, does have the better bullpen, but they did have to use some of their bullpen yesterday in that close, low-scoring game against the Yankees. So Kansas City is at a rest disadvantage in the game. But Kansas City does have the better, probably the better starting pitcher and the better, they do have the better starting pitcher and the better bullpen. As far as the matchup, though, I think both pitchers match up decently in this game. But 82% of tickets, only 78% of the cash on Kansas City. They're down from minus 150 to minus 149. So I think the market read looks like it is on the A's side. And I don't really disagree with it, given that they did at least rest yesterday. And I think just going out on the road after that bad series is better than Kansas City just staying at home after a really tough series and tough loss to the Yankees. So that would be the way that I would look at that game. Yeah, Kansas City needs to find some offense, man. I know they called up one of their hitting prospects, and their offense has not turned it around still. St. Louis at Milwaukee. These two teams played yesterday, and that was the game that I want to forget about. I mean, I definitely should have gotten the under correct in that game. If you had told me that Misiorowski was going to have a no-hitter through the first 5 innings, I would have actually bet it. Let's say, because I'm not actually betting these right now, but that's what I would have done. Both bullpens pretty much got saved in the game because the game was 6-0 already, and it was kind of out of hand. So both bullpens pretty much used innings eaters yesterday, and they saved all their better relievers. Each team only has 2 relief pitchers. So even though neither bullpen is very good, especially Milwaukee's hasn't been good, the bullpens are rested coming into this game. Eric Fetty is pitching for St. Louis. 3.54 ERA is pretty good, but a 1.30 whip isn't that great. He's putting too many guys on base, but he has been better on the road with a 2.88 road ERA. So he's been better on the road. He's not really in good form, I wouldn't say, even though what do you mean, man? He just shut out the Dodgers for 5 1/3. Yeah, I know he did, but he walked 4 guys and only struck out 2. And in his last 2 starts this month, even though he has a 1.59 ERA, I'm concerned about the walk numbers. A 7.7 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good enough, man. You're putting yourself in danger there. His team had lost 4 of his starts in a row before that Dodgers start. So I don't like what I'm seeing out of Fetty necessarily recently. Against Milwaukee, his numbers are atrocious in a huge sample size, too. In 100 at-bats, he has 14 walks to 13 strikeouts. So he has more walks and strikeouts in that big of a sample size. That is not good. He's allowed a 400 average. I don't even know if I've seen a batting average allowed that high in a sample size that big. That is insane. And a 1,104 OPS, that is not good at all. You want some player props. Contreras is 8 for 14 with 2 home runs and 2 walks off him and a strikeout. Frelick is 4 for 6 with a triple, 2 RBIs and 2 walks. Hoskins, 10 for 34 with 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 6 walks, and only 3 strikeouts. Ortiz, 4 for 8 with 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. Turang, 3 for 7. Or Turang, I don't know. 1 RBI, 2 walks. Yelich, 8 for 15 with 2 doubles. I mean, these guys all smack Fetty around. He's like a piñata against these guys. 4 RBIs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So take your pick from those guys, man, for hitter props. Hits plus runs plus RBIs. You can make some money probably with all those guys. He's up against Freddie Peralta, who is certainly the better of the 2 pitchers. 2.69 ERA, 1.16 whip, and he's been better at home with a 1.29 home ERA. He's definitely been getting it done at home. He's in decent form right now. I mean, the walk numbers are a little bit iffy recently, but he is coming off a 6-inning, 1-hit performance shutout against San Diego, which is pretty good, even though he only had a 3.2 strikeout walk ratio. But over his last 2 starts, 12-5 strikeout walk ratio, 2.25 ERA. I mean, this is what you get out of Peralta. High strikeout rate, pretty high walk rate, but he doesn't allow a lot of hits, tends to not allow a lot of runs. He's only allowed more than 3 earned runs once this entire season, and that was a road start against Cleveland where he didn't do particularly well. Other than that, he has definitely been good. Against St. Louis, his numbers are mediocre and 139 at-bats. Again, way too many walks, though. 30-17 strikeout walk ratio. It's too many walks. 266 average, 818 OPS. Numbers aren't great, but I think better than what Fedde is putting up. Arenado's 10 for 36 off him, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. So Arenado hits him well. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, though. Contreras, the other Contreras. I get them confused, man. Their names are almost the same. 7 for 24 off him with 2 home runs and 5 walks and 4 RBIs as well and 7 strikeouts. Those are mostly the 2 guys that do most of the damage. And Pages, or however you pronounce his name, Pages is 2 for 2 with 2 home runs off him. Crazy. So that's what's going on there. So a few guys do it Peralta pretty well. So what will we do in this game? Well, I still think the lean is to Milwaukee in that game, even though Milwaukee did win yesterday. They're down from minus 160, minus 150, but 74% of tickets, 78% of the cash come in on Milwaukee. Neither bullpen is that great, so I don't know that you really need to take Milwaukee's bullpen out of the equation in this one, even though usually you want to avoid their bullpen, but their bullpen is at least, like, their best relievers are available in this game at least. And the total's low here, though. It's up from 7.5 to 7.5 with juice to the over. 71% of tickets on the over, only 56% of the cash on the over. So the odds makers lining this, they think this is going to be a real pitching duel, but I think Fedde is definitely a worry there, as Milwaukee has destroyed him to such an extent. It's a consideration for a play on Milwaukee in this game. And what do you know? Action Network is back. So let me just look at the White Sox real quick. Yeah, I mean, their money indicators, market indicators do look like the money is coming in on the White Sox, though. So their market indicators look fairly strong on Dodgers, Blue Jays, Reds, White Sox. I mean, those are kind of the big ones. I haven't talked about the Dodgers game yet. I talked about all the other ones. So that's what they have going on there. And totals looks like Mets and Rays under looks like the big one there, which I don't even remember what I said about that game. But yeah, as far as the side in this game, let me see. What do the indicators look like here? Looks like the market indicators are kind of against the Brewers as far as the Action Network is concerned. So I won't recommend it as a play. But I mean, Fedde, I mean, those numbers are awful, man. So I think maybe the way to go here might be Milwaukee team total to go over their team total, man, because if you want to play some way of playing against Fedde here, because his numbers are just so bad against Milwaukee, it's crazy. Although he has been better on the road, so we'll leave that off the card, but that's something to consider. San Diego's at Arizona. I believe both teams were off yesterday. Arizona's staying at home, and they're basking in a sweep of Seattle here, but it's not like they're going to overlook a team that's above them in the standings in their division. It's a big divisional game. I think both teams should show up for this, but Arizona maybe even more so because San Diego's coming off a big series against LA, but they should still be focused in a divisional series like this. Going out on the road after losing to LA. So San Diego might still be focused as well. Both teams are off, so we have rested bullpens here, although San Diego's bullpen is the significantly better bullpen over Arizona's. Kolek is pitching for San Diego, and he's been pretty good for them this year. 3 ERA, 1.24 whip. He's also been a lot better on the road. He has a 9.58 home ERA in a pitcher-friendly park. I don't know what the deal is with that. And a .85 road ERA. So he's been way better on the road. I worry, though, because this month, even though he has 2.5 and 2/3 innings shutout performances, he has only a 5 to 6 strikeout walk ratio, which indicates that 0 ERA this month is not really telling you the whole story. He's walking too many guys. In the Miami start and the last start in May, didn't really do well either. Gave up 6 earned runs in 5 1/3. 3 to 2 strikeout walk ratio. So Kolek is not really in good form right now, man. So I worry a little bit. Now he's going to a hitter-friendly park against a good offense, Arizona, but specifically Arizona doesn't do that well against him. In a very small sample size, though, 13 at-bats, 231 average, 564 OPS. So his numbers against Arizona are decent. He's up against Ryan Nelson, who is pitching better than I would think he would be because he's just been a guy that I like to fade. I don't think he's a very good pitcher, but 4.6 ERA doesn't look that good. A 1.11 whip is pretty good. He's been pitching fairly decently, but not recently. Not decently recently. As in his last couple of starts, he only went 4 innings against Washington. I don't know why they pulled him, though, because it was a 2-hit shutout performance. Only 1 strikeout. He's not really a strikeout guy, but his last start was bad. I know it was in a bad park for pitchers, Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. He got lit up for 7 runs, walked 4 guys, only struck out 3 and gave up 4 hits and 1 home run in 3 innings. That wasn't good. So I would say that he is not in good form right now. His numbers against San Diego are okay, and 92 at-bats, a 239 average is pretty good, but a 742 OPS a little bit higher. 11-6 strikeout walk ratio is not great, but we'll see what happens in this game, man. I don't really know. Bogarts hits him well, 4 for 9 with 2 home runs if you want a little bit of a player prop shout out there. This is a tough game to handicap, man. I mean, there are conflicting indicators. You can see both pitchers doing well or not doing well here. The total is sitting pretty high at 9.5 because it is Chase Field here. I could see both pitchers struggling here potentially. The strongest market read does look like it's on Arizona, though. Up from -120 to -132. 52% of the cash coming in on Arizona, but 72% of tickets on San Diego. Because I think people are going to look at, Kolek's pitching well this year. Ryan Nelson, his numbers don't look as good. I don't really want to do it and fade Kolek, with his really good road numbers there, but it does look like the strongest indicator is on the Arizona side. I could kind of see that maybe San Diego's in a bit of a hangover spot coming off the game against LA. Cleveland and Seattle. Seattle also did not play yesterday, and they're returning home from a road trip, which, again, not really a good spot. They went to Anaheim and then Arizona and lost all but 1 game on the road trip. So the public's going to have a tendency to be like, well, Seattle's an okay team. They're going to bounce back at home, right? I mean, that's what the public usually thinks, but it doesn't usually work that way, man. A lot of times you're still in that distracted spot. You're not totally paying attention when you return home. You got to focus back on family life. You have things to do. Cleveland, actually, I think, has a little bit of momentum here as they finally got a win against Cincinnati. They hadn't been playing well, and they get to go out on the road here and start a road trip. Cleveland was also off yesterday, so both teams were off yesterday. So Cleveland has a little bit of an edge there, I think, as far as that's concerned, as far as the fact that they, even though they have to travel further out to the Pacific Coast, getting out of home with that win in their back pocket with a little bit of momentum, I think, is actually good. Gavin Williams is pitching for Cleveland. Not great numbers. 3.86 ERA looks good, but a 1.42 whip is definitely too high. He walks too many, puts too many men on base, but his last 2 starts this month have been okay. Not against great offenses, Anaheim and Houston, but he's got 12 2/3 across those 2 starts, only allowing 3 runs combined, 11 strikeouts, 4 walks. Not terrible. 2.13 ERA, so he's been decent this month. He's been a little bit worse on the road with a 4.38 road ERA, but he is now pitching in Seattle, which is a more pitcher-friendly park. And Seattle only has 3 hitters who have ever seen him before, and they're 0 for 13 off him lifetime with 2 strikeouts and no walks. So they have not reached base against Williams. Let me fix my mic cord here. Didn't even realize that, but it's kind of hitting my arm there. Come on, man. There we go. All right. This is going to be the longest Better Off Dead, by the way, in a long time. So thank you guys for hanging out with me for this whole time. Hopefully it's been entertaining. Seattle, they have not hit Gavin Williams well, and the other guys, they have not even seen him before. So I think Williams might even have a little bit of an edge here. He is up against Luis Castillo, who is starting to pitch better after he was a little bit shaky earlier in the season. He has a 3.31 ERA, which is good. 1.3 whip is not as good. His last start, I'll kind of give him a pass for that one, actually, because he allowed 3 home runs and still only allowed 4 runs. The defense looks like they came into play as 2 of the runs that he allowed were unearned. So really he got a little bit unlucky in that start. Still had a 5-0 strikeout walk ratio. Overall this month, 3.27 ERA, 10-2 strikeout walk ratio in just 2 starts. But still, he's been pitching pretty well. He's been doing well going all the way back to mid-May when he had a good start against the Yankees. Pitching well since then, so Castillo looks like he is pretty much back. He's been better at home, too, with a 2.25 home ERA. So he's good at home. Up against Cleveland, his numbers are a little bit shaky with 80 at-bats. He has a 19-9 strikeout walk ratio, which is too many walks, although 7 of them are Santana, who just walks a ton. So maybe not a whole lot you can take away from the walk numbers. 275 average allowed, 923 OPS. So the numbers really aren't that great against Cleveland. Kwan is 6 for 14. Ramirez has 3 home runs off him, but 6 for 25 isn't a very good batting average. And Thomas is 4 for 14 with a home run, which isn't that bad. So Castillo, kind of a mixed bag against Cleveland. So what do we want to do with this game? Man, I mean, I think it's a slight lean to Cleveland is the strongest way to look at this game. The total's low as well, expecting both pitchers to actually pitch well. Although Seattle actually is undecided according to this board now, so it might not even be Castillo. So that makes this a little bit of a tough game to handicap, man. I don't know if Castillo is hurt or I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what the deal is there with that being listed as undecided. Williams being really, pretty much unknown to Seattle and having pretty good numbers against the hitters that have seen him. He might actually have a little bit of an edge here. The number's down from -130 to -108. Like I said, Cleveland's starting a road trip. Seattle returning home from one. Cleveland is in the more positive spot, so I don't really disagree with the Cleveland side in that game, especially if Seattle is going to put in some bad pitcher in there. We'll see. Thank you, David. Let's hopefully that's going to continue, man. Let's finish it off with a pretty big game between the Giants. I almost said the 49ers. The Giants and the Dodgers, man. Both teams were off yesterday. Or no, both teams were not off. What am I saying? San Francisco played in Colorado. So San Francisco is at a disadvantage, man, rest-wise, because they played yesterday. They blew the game against Colorado. They might be pissed off coming off the game against Colorado. Maybe they started looking ahead to this Dodgers series because it's a much bigger series. So in a way, could be a bounce-back spot because losing to the Rockies is pretty embarrassing. But Giants used 4 relief pitchers yesterday, and Dodgers had the day off, so the Dodgers get a rest edge here. Those schedule makers helping the Dodgers out there. So San Francisco, maybe not in the greatest spot here. We're having to go out to the Pacific Coast, out of elevation, having used a bunch of their relief pitchers yesterday, kind of balances out the bullpens because San Francisco does have a good bullpen, but with a bunch of them not really well rested, kind of negates it where the Dodgers have an okay bullpen, but they're rested. Logan Webb is pitching. I mean, this pitching matchup is good, man. You have both teams' aces are on the mound. Logan Webb having a really good season for the Giants, 2.58 ERA, 1.16 whip, all pretty good. He's been worse on the road, though, with a 3.95 road ERA compared to 1.36 at home. He's been way better at home. He is in good form right now, though. Last 3 starts, I would say, were all really good with 10, 7, and 10 strikeouts, allowing only 5 earned runs over that entire span. Not going fewer than 6 innings in any of those starts. 22 innings pitched over that span, allowing only 19 hits, I think is what that is if I'm doing the math right. So that's all pretty good, man. And only 1 walk over that entire span. So he has had his command. He is in good form right now. Dodgers hit him pretty well, though, in 192 at-bats. He has a 33-23 strikeout walk ratio, which is not good. I mean, that is a lot of walks. That's not good. 328 average, allowed 900 OPS. So his numbers against the Dodgers are pretty bad, and some of the best Dodgers hitters pretty much wail on him. Betts, 15 for 36 with 2 home runs and a walk. Freeman, 14 for 37 with a home run, couple of walks. Muncy, 9 for 27 with 3 home runs and 5 walks. Those 3 guys do a lot of damage. Enrique Hernandez is 4 for 7, 17 wouldn't be good, but 4 for 7, pretty good. So those specific guys all do pretty well against Webb. So it might be a little bit of an iffy situation for Webb coming into this. So I think the Dodgers do have a bit of an edge in this game. Yamamoto is pitching for them, and I think he is overall better than Webb is. 2.2 ERA, 1 whip on the season. Yamamoto is pitching well. Dodgers have lost his last 2 starts. He had 1 really bad start against the Yankees. Not good, but he bounced right back and had a really nice start against St. Louis the next time out. So he is not in bad form still. He had 1 misstep there. I think it was kind of an outlier. He is a little bit worse at home with a 2.76 ERA, but he's still good both at home and away. It doesn't really matter. And the Giants have not seen much of him at all. Only 4 of the hitters have seen him before, and they're only 2 for 11 off him lifetime with 5 strikeouts, a 182 average, and a 364 OPS. So Yamamoto has the edge as far as the hitting is concerned. The Dodgers are returning home from a road trip, so that is something to keep in mind, though I forgot to mention that. They went to St. Louis, and they did come back to Southern California, though, so they've already been in Southern California against San Diego, so that does mitigate that a little bit. They may have had an opportunity to go home a little bit sooner than they would have otherwise because they didn't really have to travel far to get back home. So maybe a little bit less to take away from that as a return home spot, which is usually a distraction spot. I don't think it will be here because they're already in Southern California and they're facing San Francisco here. So you know you're going to get focus from both teams here. Yamamoto has the better of the starting pitching matchup here, in my opinion. The money has come way in on the Dodgers. They're up from minus 145 to minus 180. Maybe they had a different listed starter before that. I don't know. You usually don't see Webb as an underdog like this, though. So in a way, I think it's too much of a price to lay on the Dodgers here. They're very public, 89% of the tickets, but 95% of the cash. The actual money does look like it's coming in on the Dodgers in that game. But again, I don't think you can really lay a price like that, even though I do think the situation is not that good for San Francisco and the Dodgers. I have the starting pitching edge in the game and the bullpen rest edge in the game as well. So things are lining up on the Dodgers, but you always have to pay a tax for the Dodgers, man. So I think there might actually even be some value in grabbing Webb in an underdog price here because he is good, but I would be a little bit concerned about thinking that way as well just because his matchup numbers are so bad against the Dodgers. I don't necessarily love it, and we do see some money on the under as well. Total basically just sitting at 7.5 juice to the under, so low total, expecting a pitching duel in this game. It's low for a reason, but Webb, I mean, again, his matchup numbers against the Dodgers aren't good in a huge sample size. We have 71% of tickets, 82% of the cash on the under. I just wouldn't be able to do that because of the matchup numbers. That's going to do it for me, though, man. Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for hanging out. It's been a long show, a 2-hour show. Usually I go about an hour and a half, but you guys got me on tangents, man, about fake balls, and hopefully it was entertaining. My plays one more time today are the Las Vegas Aces in WNBA -6. We got an under 9 in baseball in Miami and Washington, and the last baseball play, last minute play, but that game at least I hadn't even looked at it. I totally skipped it. I skipped the White Sox Ussy, I don't know, the Texas Rangers, the Texas Ussy, Tex Ussy, I don't know. White Sox and, I just said, White Sox plus 1.5 on the run line for half the bet and money line for half the bet is the other play that I'm recommending. It's not a total. I saw a slash in there. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, not a total. I never put a slash in on the total, but usually the total is like a longer banner there. Anyway, yeah, White Sox. Play them either on the run line, the money line, split it both ways. Either way, that's the other recommendation today, even though we don't even know what starting pitcher they're going up against. That's going to do it. David, you have a good day as well. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out here, man. All you guys, I appreciate it. David, Andrew, Patrick, Nate. Tons of guys in the chat today. Scott, JC. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. TBM. Did I miss anyone? Anthony, Zach, all you guys. And I think I said David already. Yeah. Thank you guys for all hanging out. That's going to do it. Let's have a good day. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Tower Gang, if you want to go watch the old episodes, the most recent episodes, I mean, that's all you can do at this point. You can still sign up for the Patreon if you want to see all the bonus content that's still out there. Patreon.com/Tower Gang. Bohemian Grove, up in the air for me. I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. I have decisions to make, man. I just don't like how everything has gone down here, but you certainly should go, though, whether or not I'm there. Get your tickets. It's going to be a good event regardless, so please go to that. And, I think that's it. Oh, and givesendgo.com/Tower Gang. Toad is still out there if you want to support my fundraiser. I'm probably closing it within the next couple of days. So thank you guys for everything, and that's going to do it for now. Peace.